In this video, I'm giving you 20 tips that will turn your musical performances and gigs into unforgettable musical journeys. And I'm doing it in 6 minutes or less. Okay, I'll make a deal with you. If I get through all of these 20 tips in 6 minutes or less, you subscribe to the channel and like this video. Deal? Deal. Okay, start the timer and go. Be confident. You want to make sure that you're always expressing and portraying confidence when you're on stage performing. Your audience will be looking at you and somewhat judging you in their heads, and you don't want to give them a reason to think you're weak or that you don't know what you're doing. Dress a step above the audience. You need to make sure that when you're performing that you're putting out a good image as well, and part of that is your attire. So if the audience is like really casually dressed, you dress business casually so that you're a step above them and you make a good impression. Arrive early. You want to make sure you get to the gig as early as possible so that you're comfortable and you don't feel rushed. And that way also, if you forget anything, you have time to either go back and get it, or you can call someone to bring those items to you. Now also, you want to record the performance. You want to keep this footage and use it for your social media for promotions. This is a good way to let other people know what you're doing and put yourself out there to show that you're a musician and you're a band and that you're available for hiring. Also, you want to bring extra equipment. It's always important to have backup equipment like extra cables, extra drum heads, and things like that, so that if something goes bad, you have extra stuff to put in place and just, keep on with your gig. Do a thorough sound check. You always want to make sure that you do a proper sound check and do it thoroughly so that your sound is going out the way that you want it to sound and you feel comfortable and you sound great to yourself, because the way that you sound is going to contribute to how you perform. Also, you want to print your set list. It's always better to have a physical copy of your set list rather than having it on an iPad or your phone. It's easier to sit on stage, you can look down at it, you can make the font bigger on the paper, and it's easier to follow when you're going through your songs and your set list on stage. Start with your best songs. You always want to make sure that you're coming out the gate really strong, because people will be looking at you and judging you on that first song, and they're going to determine in their head whether or not they like you. So make a good impression with your best songs first. Okay, how are we doing on time? I got a bunch more tips to give, and I hope I can do it in this 6 minutes. Now also, you want to focus on engaging your audience. This is one of the biggest mistakes that bands and musicians make. They just sit on stage and play, and it's boring to the audience. You want to focus on getting them as involved as possible in your show and performance. And you want to introduce your songs. This is a great way to keep the audience engaged, and it's a good way to take a little break between your music so you're not playing songs just back to back. You have a little breather to talk to the audience and let them know what you're playing next. You want to tell stories. This is the biggest way to keep your audience engaged. Tell them a story about how you came to play the song that you're playing, or how you came to like the song that you're playing, or just tell them a story about your personal life. This keeps them engaged and connected to you during your performances. And you just want to have fun. When the audience sees that you're engaged in what you're doing yourself and that you're having fun and enjoying it, they will get into it too, and they will be more likely to like and appreciate what you're doing versus if you're just sitting up there being bored. Man, I got this whole 6 minutes thing down. Actually, I better keep moving. Also, you want to connect with and shake hands with some of your audience members when you're on your breaks. This is a great way to keep the audience connected to what you do, give them a sort of personal invite into your life, and just let them know and greet them and thank them for being there. This is really great rapport, and it'll give you a boost when they're supporting you online, in social media, and in your performances live. Ask the audience to follow you on social media. This is a great way to get more followers on your social media platforms, and it's a great way to help keep the audience members and people who are interested in what you do informed about where you're going to be playing next. Also, you want to promote the gig. You want to use your social media platforms to promote and let people know where you're going to be. People are interested in coming out to see live music, and the people that are connected to you want to know where you're going to be. So make sure you're promoting it. Another great tip is you want to interact with the venue staff while you're on break as well. So the bartenders and the table workers and all of those people, greet them and thank them as well. And this is also something you can do while you're on stage and doing your talks. You can say, hey, thank the bartenders and all of the workers today. Make sure you give them a tip. You can say those things to the audience. And that's going to go over really well with the club owners, and they're likely going to be hiring you back. If you don't know it, don't play it. One of the biggest mistakes that bands and musicians make is trying to perform and do songs that they don't know. It takes the audience away from what you're doing. It detracts from what you're doing. You feel less confident, so the songs don't come across as well. So don't play it if you don't know it. After the gig, you want to be sure to follow up with the venue. Always make a habit of following up with the people who hired you and thank them for hiring you. Send them an email, send them a text or whatever, and let them know you appreciated them letting you be there. And this will go over well with them hiring you again in the future. Also, you want to start and end on time. Bands and musicians have a really bad reputation for not being on time and not doing things on time. And when you're able to do your gig and start and end on time, this is going to go over really well. It's going to let people know that you're professional. And you want to learn from the experience. When the gig is over, always take some time to reflect on what happened, what went well, what didn't go well, so that you know what you can adjust and change in the future for any gigs that you may have coming up. Now, for more band tips and performance tips and things about your gigs, you want to go here and check out these videos right now.